Hey, what's up, everyone? Coach Ben here. Coach Ben podcast number, I think this is 57.
50-something.
50-something.
57. Sounds
57,
about right.
I think, is correct. So I'm always here with Jim. Not always, but 95% of the time. And so, Jim, what's up?
Good afternoon. We're in the afternoon here, Ben. So good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you.
Yes.
So big event that we have not had a chance to talk about. It happened fairly recently, and the internet and social media. It's been a buzz.
A situation.
Yeah, situation.
A situation.
Oh, that's almost like a good title. The
situation.
In
In an event.
In an event,
Yes.
correct. And this event or the situation happened between Gordon Ryan and Andre Galvao.
Yes.
And this has been something that's been brewing on social media for some time. And it came to a head backstage at Who's Number One event. And Ben, let's kind of dissect this. Let's go in.
Let's break down what happened
Yeah.
and what led to it. And so what happened was there was some online trash talk between Gordon Ryan and members of the Atos team, specifically Andre Galvao, because that's who Gordon Ryan is targeting because he wants a match with Andre Galvao. And this led to them meeting in person at the Who's Number One event. I believe it was in Austin. And they met backstage. Andre was on the phone, and you can see it in the video footage. He had some words for Gordon and maybe walked into Gordon's personal space. And Gordon, they basically got into a little shoving match, which led to Gordon Ryan slapping Andre Galvao once, and then a second time that you don't really see on camera, it's off camera. But that's what happened. And then Gordon then walks away and does an interview. Andre is saying some stuff to him and his team, and there was another incident where they were about to kind of have another altercation, but it was separated, and then That was pretty much it.
Right.
That was the situation. So the main things are that there was kind of like an assault on both sides, right? So Andre got into Gordon's space, which constitutes an assault, and then Gordon definitely escalated it by producing a strike, which is for sure an escalation. So anyway. I wanted to address this on the podcast because I had a lot of people asking me, some of my own students, and I never had like a clear answer to like what I think, and I'm still not 100% sure what to think, but I don't really care about my opinion as much as what we can learn from it.
Because right now, I mean, we haven't addressed it on the podcast yet, but it's been close to 2 full weeks now since the incident, I believe, and kind of like you in circles, it is being talked about, and
right.
There are so many interesting ways to dissect this and come with it. And even since then, there's been an apology letter or an apology video that Andre did live on his Instagram page. They did Instagram Live, so that kind of plays into this whole equation and just kind of let's talk about this, let's assess it, and let's. I
really care most about having a balanced viewpoint and also what we can learn and what people in the Jiu-Jitsu community can take from this as a form of self-improvement on their own. Because I don't really care for, drama in the sense of, who's right and who's wrong. I don't care, right? I don't care. I don't think anybody should care. It's not, it's fun. I guess it's good for the sport, but I'm never going to.
The wrong thing.
You focus on the wrong thing. I'm not going to ever pick a side in here, but I will. By the end of this, you guys will probably get a sense of who I would side with if I was forced to. But again, I'm going to state right off the bat that I am pretty objective in this, and I can see a lot of wrong on both sides, and also some right on both sides. If we're caring about right and wrong, but again, I really mainly care about talking about facts and what we can learn. So first thing is, why did this happen? Well, I think this happened because it came to a head, right? There's many reasons why it happened, but mainly is because there was beef and there was proximity, right? So if there's beef and there's proximity, What do you think is going to happen? There's going to be some talking.
A flashpoint.
Right. And I'm just going to get to into it, right? I'm just going to get right into it. So we're talking mainly about the situation itself. We're not, forget about the months of trash talk, shit talk.
Build up.
We're just talking about the slapping incident at Who's Number One, right?
Well, let's rewind, because there was a step in there that I don't know if it's important, but I just feel that let's go ahead and throw it in there. That happened that night, the flip off.
Oh, yes, you're right. I'm sorry. I forgot. That's actually very important.
Yeah, because that comes around back to,
let me address that. So before the slapping incident, the main event of Who's Number One was Gordon's teammate, Craig Jones, facing Ronaldo Jr. And Craig got a heel hook, and it was pretty quick. It was in a few minutes in, and so Craig is Gordon's teammate. Gordon was cornering him, and Gordon goes over to shake Andre Galvao's hand.
Yeah, the whole Danaher Death Squad, they're very animate. They're very good about greeting the opposing side's coaches and the competitors, shaking their hands.
Yes.
They're very sportsmanlike. Say what you will about that entire team, but the decorum of the team is intact.
We have to be fully transparent here. There was a time when John Danaher did not shake somebody's hand for a specific reason as well. It happened at it was an event in New York, I believe, and it was there was a reason for this.
Okay.
Right? John had a reason for this.
I didn't know that one. Okay.
So there was a reason for this. But again, that not shaking somebody's hand is very different from not shaking their hand and giving them a middle finger.
Right.
I'm not giving you this middle finger right now. I'm just sticking it out because I have middle fingers.
Right.
So anyway, so it's very different, right? So that is very disrespectful. I think Andre, we talked before the podcast on if we could take things back, right? That would be something that I feel if we told Andre, hey, would you do that again? He probably wouldn't do that again. Did he, why did he do it? I mean, it's emotional, man. His student just lost. Gordon's talking shit. Like,
doesn't feel good.
Doesn't feel good. We cannot judge Andre based on that moment. I mean, I've done worse. Trust me. We've all done that. So that sets the stage for what happened. So after that, Gordon walks backstage, and then he runs into Andre, and they get into a shoving match. Gordon slaps Andre twice. It was pretty loud. It was pretty aggressive. And so now we've set the stage for what happened, right? I'm just gonna get right into it. I've been I've owned bars. I've been a bouncer. I've been a bartender. I've seen these types of scenarios happen many, many times, and I can tell you that I've been on both sides of it as well. This is what I think happened. Andre got into this altercation with Gordon, not expecting it to be escalated, right? So when he pushed Gordon and Gordon slapped him, that right there created this sense of shock in his, and he admitted this in the Instagram video as well. He was shocked, right? This happens commonly, right? You get into a shoving match. Yeah, think about high school, right? Middle school. I've gone into these things many times. You think you're getting into a shoving match to try to, assert yourself, right? Maybe even try to bully the other guy because you don't think they're going to fight back. And then, boom, they hit you with the
boom bap.
Yeah.
They're not playing from the same playbook. They hit you with that boom bap.
And your expectation of what happens in that moment immediately changes, right? So I think what Andre was thinking was, we're going to hype the fight. We're going to shove each other. We're going to build up some things, and I'm going to, get some stuff on my chest. And Gordon, who just had a match before Craig, he submitted Roberto Jimenez. He just had a very aggressive match. Roberto is a very tough guy, so he had to be amped up for this. This is not the right time to go and approach somebody with the intent of telling them what's up.
Yeah,
right?
and let's also not forget the off the mat life that Gordon's been living. He just uprooted his life. And he lives in a new place now, and that's got to bring its own level of stressors.
His father passed away.
His father.
My father passed away. I can tell you right now that
if you have a good relation with your father,
you are affected.
It ain't easy.
You are affected every day.
Yeah.
So this is not. So Andre not only picked not a good time. He also had already did something that was a little bit unsportsmanlike. That I think maybe he doesn't take as seriously as the Danaher team, but I think they probably take that a little more seriously. If they don't shake your hand, it's for a specific reason. So, plus you give them the middle finger. So anyway, so that happened, right? And I think I want to address people online who are saying like, Andre was scared or something. No, I don't think so, right? This guy's fought MMA. He knows how to fight. He of course he knows how to fight. He's fought MMA. He was shocked in that moment. Mm-hmm. He was shocked into a kind of a complacency, like, whoa, hold on, man, what's going on here? That is not the same as being scared. That is,
but I do want to kind of pause right there. But
sure.
So what?
Mm-hmm.
So what if he is scared? George St. Pierre is very open. He's scared before he goes into an organized combat.
But that's the point, right? That was something that the expectation is there. Right. He's expected to go in there. He may be scared, but he's being scared in something that he expects. This is like, we're outside talking and, an alien lands. I don't know how I'm going to react. Or a car drives over the barrier and, a murderer jumps out.
My point is someone like Gordon Ryan, I don't care who it is, it's a scary notion. Now, the merits of whether or not someone is scared, that's not for me to decide.
Scared is a weird word.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, even if you're scared, that's part of the shock too. You're scared from the shock, and I don't. I think the word that I see people using, which I think is incorrect, is coward.
Yes,
I don't think that's true.
Yes.
I'm scared. Look, I'm not a coward. If a murderer jumps through the door right now, I'm scared to death. But that doesn't mean I'm a coward.
Yes,
it just means that, hey, look, you shocked me into like this situation.
This is a whole different topic and discussion. This is a different thing. Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I believe happened, right? So Andre was maybe thinking he was getting to a shoving match, and then Gordon escalated into basically a fight. At this point, your response is really to slap the guy back or to full out. And if he did, that probably would have escalated into a full-on fight, right? I think at that point, Andre did the right thing, which is to just, hey, look, we're not going there. Like there's, I have students, I have an academy, I have, my wife, I have, they're different people. They're in different parts of their lives. And Gordon, I don't want to say Gordon has less to lose, but he lives like he has nothing to lose, and that's very powerful. And so when you have that aura,
or even that approach, right?
You don't want to go against these guys like that. That's a very dangerous, thing. So Andre, I think, did the right thing after, being striked, being slapped. There was some stuff afterwards where, Gordon was trying to push into him again.
Almost escalated.
It almost happened again. Yeah. And I would say Andre still did the right thing. What good can happen if he were to, let's say, go for a takedown or something, or just try to strike Gordon back? First of all, that might have turned into an all-out brawl. That almost certainly would. You see John Danaher standing there kind of like looking like he – so we don't know what was going to happen, right?
It wouldn't have been good.
It wouldn't have been good. There was also, people were saying, well, Gordon was kind of pushing into Andre. Andre was backing up. There might have been some fear there. Look, I'm scared of Gordon. I don't care who you are. If you're online talking shit about somebody that's scared of Gordon or whatever, shocked into, like what the fuck's going on, look, you'd be scared of
you, man.
You'd be scared of Gordon with two hands behind his back, walking toward you.
Yeah, people are more likely liars in that regard, or some people. I mean, hey, to each its own. But
so don't judge. That's my point.
Right.
Don't judge,
right?
Because you don't know what's
so
up.
What?
You're being a hater, and also don't judge because you don't know how you would react. And I think a lot of these people saying, oh well, if he slapped me, I would have threw the next punch. Those are the same people who would be in fetal position, like literally in 2 seconds. They get slapped, they're in fetal position. Yeah, I've seen people like this.
Yeah, we call those people liars.
Yeah, so people that are calling Andre, coward, that's complete horse shit,
and cowardice in its own way, ironically,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Only real cowards would say that about somebody like Andre.
Would project that label onto someone else.
Pure projection.
Yeah.
It's thinking. So what I suspect happened there, and this is something we can also learn from because it's human nature. Mm-hmm. What I suspect from people who are saying, "Oh, well, I would have at least slapped him back. I would have at least threw a punch. I would have at least went for the takedown. I wouldn't let anybody slap me like that." What they're really saying, and what people like that are really saying to me, that's what I hear, is that they didn't like that Andre didn't defend himself. And they felt in that situation, they could do better. They could do better than Andre in that situation. And they're lying to themselves.
Well,
they're lying to themselves.
And I will say this.
It's a projection.
There are people that probably would have
Maybe.
reacted. No, oh no, I think that's pretty certain. And some people would have reacted with the full
Sure.
consciousness of knowing that they're about to get wrecked, right?
Sure.
But back to what you were saying before, it's like,
Who are they though? Who are they?
It doesn't even matter. But what if they did? What are you doing now?
Right.
Now other people stand
Right,
to
the
get hurt.
consequences.
It would have been bad.
And I can guarantee you those people are not Andre. As in they probably are, they have nothing. They literally have nothing to lose.
Sure.
A lot of these people.
That's a great point.
A lot of these people that they're on the internet being hard or whatever. You literally have nothing. You're in your mom's basement talking about a probably a 10-time world champion.
It's a common trait of these champions.
What are you doing, man?
Right.
When you hate on these people, what you're basically signaling is that, hey, I think I can do better, but I don't have the balls to do it, so I'm going to talk about it.
Or, look at this elite person. Look at this. Look at these guys who have succeeded on a certain plane.
Let's chop them down.
Yeah. Let's do that, Ben.
Let's chop them down.
Let's say something real crappy to them, and let's just really show the world.
So anyway, that's what I mean by that. That kind of bothers me a little bit from the, just it doesn't bother me that they're doing it. It's bothering me that they are actually harming themselves, because that saddens me. I'm like, man, look, I used to be a hater too, man. I used to think like that too, and thinking like that is really what makes you a loser, is thinking like that.
It's a trait of a losing type of mindset.
Yeah.
So moving on.
Yep.
So we got the slaps.
So that happened, right? And then, so the event is over, and Andre is getting killed online. Let's just be honest, right? Andre is taking the brunt of this, and I think it's unfair. It's a bit unfair. A little bit of it is he brought some of this on himself, and he admitted this in his own.
So let's
video.
let's go to that now.
Yeah,
let's go to that.
So Andre,
about a week later.
It
was a week to the day.
Yeah, about a week later. Andre's very quiet on social media. Like, just
good choice, good call.
Yeah, it's better to just.
So whether it was Andre's decision or the people around Andre, good job.
Yeah, so he makes a IG live video, Instagram live video, and it's on his page. So he talks about Andre talks about basically that he apologized to the community. He apologized to his students. I think it started off very well. He basically apologized for the whole thing, and there were some things that I'm gonna give a little bit of my own personal criticism, because, again, I am one of those people who think also at times there are things that I could do better, but there are certain things that I wish he had done. Not because I think they can do better. I think this would have been the honest truth, and I think Andre first apologized, which is great. That's a great starting point. I didn't hear him apologize to Gordon, which I think he should have. If he did. Okay, so good.
Because I'll get in.
Prominent.
That should
have been prominent.
That's a great point, and I'll get into that.
Yeah, because the first person he should apologize.
He apologized to the people that look up to him, I believe.
Yeah,
first.
I think that's fine. But really, if you want to move on from this, you have to take responsibility, because Gordon's not going to take responsibility. He is in the mindset that he's in the right. He was defending himself, right? So the only person that can take responsibility is Andre, and he did, right? He, to a certain degree, he did. How I would kind of break this down is that I wish he made the apology to Gordon a little bit more prominent. Number one. Two, I think that there was also a language barrier, I believe, so he's not exactly
right.
So
right.
It's difficult.
Something
right?
to take into account, which he did a very good job. He did in Portuguese
to
first.
even talk for 15 minutes in English, and this is like not exactly a situation that is easy to articulate.
Right.
I wished that he took a little more accountability of the situation, even more so. And I do think that he should have addressed that. He did address that he was in shock from Gordon escalating, but he should have addressed, in my opinion, that he didn't go into this with the best intentions. I think he did think that he could bully Gordon in that moment and just pick the wrong time. I've seen Gordon at tournaments before, and yeah, he is quite, at least in the beginning of his career, before he became a superstar, he was picked on, man. Like, I was at tournaments and people were looking down on him. They thought he was a goofy, kid wearing the robe and the crowns and things like that. People were mocking him, especially online, but even in person. And so I think a lot of this is Gordon had enough of this bullying, and he just decided to choose this time to lash out. Well,
it was cause and effect. I mean, when you start dressing like that, you're bringing that kind of attention to yourself, especially in a community like Jiu-Jitsu where these guys, it's called the general art, but these guys are fighters.
Yeah, but I mean, the point is that
he took a lot of shit.
Matter. He took a lot. It doesn't matter if he brought it on himself.
Right now is his prime time for payback.
Now it's like the person who was the peasant the whole time has now really become the king. And so now it's a bad time to try to get in there, right? So anyway, I wish that Andre would have taken full accountability of his intentions.
That's fair.
Other than that, there was a little. I don't think he should have put the part about the.
Wait! Don't say it yet, because I know what you're going to say.
What do you want me to say?
No, let me express myself first. I'll let you bring that in. First, that's awesome.
You gotta address this, man.
Right. So to your point, he said something that when I heard him say it, it had me like, oh really? Where he said first, Gordon, I forgive you.
Okay, I wasn't even talking about that, but
yeah, I know.
Also important.
I'm saving that other thing.
Yes, Gordon, I forgive you. It's a little bit weird.
So, it's weird only if he plays it wrong. So it's like you said that. Oh. And it kind of comes back to your point of taking a little bit or making the apology to Gordon.
A bit of a victim playing there.
Well, no, actually not at all. It depends on how he played it. He played it right. Let me complete the thought here. So when he said that, my antenna was on like, oh, you forgive Gordon. Okay, I'm listening. Because I'm looking for something in particular, and it came. I got it because I was looking for it, and it was he apologized on his behalf, for his role in what happened. So that's incomplete because forgiveness and really moving past, I believe, is a 360. Like if he didn't take any accountability whatsoever, but he says I forgive you, that's. Man, take that apology and kick rocks,
Right.
But the fact that he says, and he came later, and to your point, yes, he should have apologized first and foremost to his role.
Issue
right.
There might be a language
and that's
barrier
a very
here.
valid point because remember, if you watched it live, the Portuguese portion was very long.
Yeah, because most people's interpretation is that Andre forgave. Why is this guy forgiving Gordon?
Right, but I think you need to because Gordon slapped him, right? And Gordon slapped him. But that's only a valid statement as long as you apologize for your role in this dance. And he did. And yes, and that's a very significant point that there is a language barrier. So give him a little wiggle room.
I would have left that out.
I wouldn't. No, I think it was very important because here's why. Because Andre has a following. Okay. Andre has a lot of people. So he's essentially saying to his people, if I forgive him, you guys got to forgive him too. I don't want anyone in the name of me doing something to Gordon.
So I think that was where the language barrier came in. And there was a bit of a misunderstanding there. And that makes a lot of sense. I'm glad you brought that up, Jim, because I didn't think about that. So you're
people
saying
look up to him.
that he was trying to stop his followers and people that look up to him and his team from retaliation.
Look at Biggie Tupac.
That makes perfect sense. And I think that's one of the issues with somebody like Andre, kind of English not being his first language. Mm-hmm. He says this and people misinterpret it as like, because I misinterpreted it, but I didn't misinterpret it as harshly as a lot of other people misinterpret it. I did still. So now that makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. That if I re-listen to it, it probably will actually.
And I think that's part of the healing process. Let's speak with a full thought. Let's look at this thing 360. And part of the art of forgiveness is apologizing for your role, but also apologizing for the person who you may perceive did you wrong.
Right.
And that slap.
Yeah.
He could easily say he slapped me. I didn't hit him. He slapped me. It could be read that way, right? But he took accountability for. I shouldn't have flipped him off. Yeah. I shouldn't have approached him.
I can see what you're saying, Jim. Yeah. I agree. I think, the wording is where it can be weird to people.
It was weird, the timing.
If you just said, hey, look, it's all good. You don't you don't need this, but I'm going to forgive you if you what.
I'm not going to, the fact that you slapped me, I'm over it. I'm not going to think about that anymore.
Right.
But, and then, again, to your point, he should have made his end a little bit more prominent. It's almost like he snuck it in there, but kudos to him because English is not his first language.
Right.
The fact that he acknowledged it, that's all I was looking for. It's like, you got to apologize for your role, and he did. And for that, it was well played until.
Okay, so this is why Andre is such a great marketer. And, he's got to where he's gotten, not because of just one skill. He's had multiple skills. And one of his skills is marketing, and so he gives a 50% off on his online site for a year. That's a great deal, by the way. I love
great deal.
I
so
love
guys,
the deal.
Go check it out.
The thing where if you're looking for people to accept a genuine apology, you probably got to leave that out. I'm just going to be real. You got to leave that out.
Yes,
and
agreed.
Because if you add that, it just the motive
cheapens
now.
Everything.
It makes it seem like you're taking an opportunistic view of this, and there's nothing wrong with being opportunistic if it's for self-growth or things like that, but for monetary, people can get sensitive. Right?
Whack sense of timing.
Right. So, all right, I don't want to spend too much time dwelling on Andre. I want to, cover the facts, and then let's move to Gordon real quick. Let's move to Gordon.
Well, I just want to share something on the sales pitch.
Yeah.
I get what he's saying, and monetarily, maybe because he knows everyone's going to be watching. But I think the way it gets received, I think, in my opinion, humble opinion, it would have been better served. Press stop on that. End your live. Deep breath. Wait 10 seconds. Do it again. And then pitch your thing. Just wait. Let that be independent from this apology. Let the apology be an apology, not a sales pitch.
Or be so sincere that you really mean what you're doing by making the site free. Why don't look, new members free for
almost
3 months.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. Great point, Ben. Like, even if you twisted it to where, and listen, for this, I feel that I want to do something to give back.
Yeah.
My site's free for 3 weeks or whatever.
You get 2 weeks free, no questions asked, and then you can join after. It's still great marketing.
It's my apology and my thank you to the community. Yeah, that would have been great. That would have been good.
When you're doing these like short-term offers, I'm not saying this is the case, but it can seem like a cash grab.
Right.
It can seem like, oh, you're taking advantage of this. It's like the people who, I don't want to get into this too much, but it's like people that are, they're fake victims, and then boom, next thing you know, they're selling a product on this, and then bang, they're on this TV show, and it just seems like it's the original cause gets lost, when you do that. Anyway, so that's Andre. I want to make it very clear that him and Gordon are very different people. So to expect them to act congruently is impossible. And also, they're not the same age. They're not the same point in their career. One person is young in his prime and a specialist at no-gi. The other is a jiu-jitsu legend who, gi, no-gi, MMA, he's done it all. It's actually kind of weird for me that Gordon even cares about this match. I think that Gordon is the dominant favorite over Andre just based on age.
He's kind of beyond it right now.
It's beyond it. It's like does he still want to face Felipe Pena? Yes, of course. Everybody wants to see that match, but at this point, would Gordon be an overwhelming favorite? Yes, he probably would be. So it's almost like he's punching down a little bit when he's trying to get at Andre, and I think that Andre should have just played that role. He should. To me, it's nothing wrong with accepting that. Look, my time is. I'm
nothing wrong with it. Yeah,
my time is. I've had a great career. My time is good. Do whatever you want. You want to call me out. I don't care.
Yeah, Galvao doesn't need to step 1 foot on the competitive stage anymore to prove anything at this point.
No more. So anyway, we'll converge on that later. Sure. But let's talk about Gordon. Gordon. And I'll be very clear. I really like Gordon. I love Gordon. I love Galvao. I think they're both great.
They've been very kind to us.
And this is something, it's not just kind to us. They're genuinely, I think they're good for the sport. And I think they deep down are good people too.
Then there's that,
And I think that people in the jiu-jitsu community that have the inability to bolster both people, I think are missing things here. Like, I don't have any problem with Andre. I don't have any problem with Gordon. If I like, as in literally, like as in who they are, how they reacted in this situation, this doesn't change much, for me. But let me talk about Gordon. Gordon has definitely taken his trolling to the next level, and for a purpose. I don't know who started it. I don't care, but he definitely is feeding into it, and he's calling out somebody like Andre in a specific rule set. Actually, I don't even know if it started out as a specific rule set, but now it's just ADCC, right? He's just trying to face him ADCC rules or in a sub-only, no gi, no time limit type of match. All right, you gotta be kind of aware of the situation there. Gordon is the best no gi sub-only guy like in history
on the planet. You're right.
So for him to even call out Andre, and Andre doesn't accept. You can't say Andre doesn't want the match. It's like going into something that you have a natural disadvantage against the best guy in the world. I think he has the right to say, look, let me think about this for my career and legacy and money and whatnot, because he's going in with massive disadvantage already. That's number one. Two, Gordon, like we said earlier, doesn't have as much to lose, right? So when he does something outrageous, Gordon's also, I think, extremely wealthy at this point, like probably more wealthy than Andre. So he can he's not worried about his livelihood. He's not worried about, oh shoot, like my academy, my online stuff. Gordon has made the
my
money.
Family, my kids,
my
wife,
kids, my wife. Gordon doesn't answer to as many people.
Right.
So they're different people first and foremost, right? Expecting the same behavior is impossible. Secondly, let's just talk about the situation, right? Gordon still went up and tried to shake Andre's hand. I think that's very respectable. Now, I don't know the situation, right? He might have gone up with a shit-eating grin. He might have, did some. I don't know. Who knows, right? Who cares? But he still went up there. He still put his hand out. I did see that. Andre did give him the finger. There's a reason to be mad at that, right? It's disrespectful, right? So now he's walking back, and a person on the phone, who's Andre, is coming at you, and saying some curse words, I believe, and
colorful language.
Like what do you guys say now? Yeah, probably just like the chest bumping stuff, right? Yeah. And so Gordon knows that a camera's on him. He knows. He knows what's up. So he can't, in this situation, act like a bitch, I guess, is what people. So it's almost like he was forced to escalate, right? Otherwise, I guess he could have just pushed Andre a couple times and they could have separated. But like I said, he just finished a match. His teammate just finished a match. He's, people say he's on performance enhancer. I don't know. Who knows the truth, right? But that can anger you. There's many things that can cause this aggression. But definitely the timing was bad. And so he retaliates. I definitely think that, I'm not going to judge what he did, but definitely didn't need to do the second slap. I think if you just let him know once and then just walk away, I think the second slap showed a little bit of like the anger, for was real. Like
this
I think
it's real.
Yeah, this is we're not playing around here. Not only am I going to slap you once, I'm going to now come after you. And then he still had some restraint. He didn't escalate it further. Walked away, did his interview. He did come after Andre again, but Andre was kind of pushed back, and so. What do I think here in Gordon's side? I really, it's hard for me to criticize Gordon in this situation, not because I like him or because I resonate with his mindset or anything, but because he was the reactionary guy in this whole situation. It was like
sort of, or you can make a case of Andre was reacting to all the online bullying, right?
Yeah, but that's not real. That's not as real as in your face, though. We gotta.
There's something to be said for that.
We gotta have layers of reality.
Man,
here.
This it really is a deep conversation because at the same time you can't dismiss all that online banter. Now they're in the same room for reasons. Like, Andre was there supporting his guy. Gordon was there. It's like, we're a small community. So that's a very real thing.
You could say that the talk was on both sides, though.
Yeah, true.
So if that cancels out, then where do we go, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So that I'm trying to find I'm going to be honest. I'm trying to find ways to bolster Andre because I think that he's being unfairly characterized in online by people who are just idiots. But it's hard, right? It's difficult because Gordon was reactionary through the whole thing. Now, what I would say that Gordon did do wrong is that I think it started from the beginning. Him calling out Andre is kind of wrong. The guy ended his ADCC run, with a win over Felipe. Gordon was there smiling, shaking his hand, and then like the next week, I don't know what happened. Maybe Andre and Otto started first, but literally the next week they're talking shit again. Mm-hmm. So were you lying then, or what are you lying now? What's going on here?
Right.
So that to me, Gordon really shouldn't even care about calling people out. He's the best guy. Like he should really just be cashing checks.
Well, and that's what I like that. For anyone who's listening to the audio, Ben did the make it rain hand gesture. That was perfectly timed. But I will say though that with that, do you think Galvao approaches Gordon in this situation if that online stuff wasn't happening?
No.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like everyone's got accountability. Let's keep it to the two parties right here with Gordon and Andre. It's like everyone has a role. And, that's why it's very important that when Andre says, Gordon, I forgive you for the slap, for all the talking, it's like, he's ready to move on. The fact he apologized for his role, they're ready to move on. And I think to your point of bolstering Andre, if we are to believe Andre that was being genuine in his apology, that's the bolster. Like he's showing everyone on forgiveness. This is what forgiveness looks like, everyone. This is what setting the table for redemption looks like.
I don't think Andre should have had to do the apology to the public, in my opinion. I think he
sure.
I think that he had to because people are tribalistic.
Right. I think it was important.
They forced it. But for me, it's just a thing that happened, and I wouldn't even I didn't comment about this at all on my own social media or anything because it's not my place. It's a thing that happened between two people. I don't even care, but it now matters because I don't like to see bullying.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't like seeing bullying from a mob. I think that is extremely annoying.
I think it was important that it was public. I mean, because you can, think about it. Either way, like if Andre called up Gordon on the side, hey, man,
yeah,
I'm sorry. And then Gordon said, yeah, I'm sorry. I think it really does help to show, because again, we're talking about in the jiu-jitsu community, the highest profile of people, personalities in the jiu-jitsu community.
Yeah, it's a complex. It's so complex.
Right. So I think, that gesture of a public apology, it has a role.
Yeah,
a very important
I think
role. So
yeah, I think he had to do it based on the backlash alone.
Yeah.
Do you think Gordon should issue an apology? He won't, but do you think he will?
That's a great question. I don't know. I guess so. Should he? I mean, to me, yeah, I'd say mirror that energy, right. Because an argument can be made, a very good argument. He won. Okay, you won. You got to pop him one. He, publicly speaking, the way it looks, the optics of it.
To me, this is the thing that's making me kind of see Gordon's flaws here, is that he's taken this too far. To me, he has entered
after the fact
bullying territory. I mean, even before
I
this.
think. Oh yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
He's entered a bully territory. Like he was always the underdog. People respected him. He has now flipped that and has become the bully.
Yeah.
It's almost strange. It's like that. It's like that Two-Face situation. You live. You either die as a hero or you see yourself become a villain. Right. He is almost becoming a villain. Right in front of our eyes in a certain sense. And I do have obviously some loyalties to Andre. I really like him, but I really like Gordon. I have no direct loyalties, but
so
that's how I feel. I think this situation, if it didn't get blown up, there was no videotape of it blown up like this, to me it's a non-issue. It's just whatever.
So, Coach, final thoughts.
Yeah, let's finish it up by. Let's just talk about, I guess where do we move from here, right? We already learned what we need to learn. What should happen here? If I was Gordon, I honestly wouldn't continue calling out Andre. I think it's at this point he has entering like bullying territory, and not him specifically, but his followers. And I'm one of his followers, and so people are kind of becoming this mob, and they're disrespecting Andre, who doesn't deserve this. He deserves a little bit of small backlash for probably everything he did before the apology, right? But he apologized. We're done. Okay, we're done. We don't want to talk about it. It's done.
Yeah, I concur.
Yeah,
I concur. And furthermore, it'd be a very interesting experience. So, like, Gordon, if you're watching this, check this out. It would be interesting to see the influence you have on people, direct hand, if he offered that olive branch, to see how his people that look up to him would fall in line, and a lot of that chatter would just die down right before your very eyes.
I don't know how realistic this is, or if it's even possible, but Gordon saying to Andre something like, "Hey man, I respect you. We're good. You've had a great career." He did this already at ADCC. I don't know what happened. There was some maybe something on either side happened, but then it just became a thing again.
It devolved.
Yeah,
right.
It devolved. So final thought really is, I think I don't really want to see this match. Do you? I mean, let's be honest. Do you want to see this match? Is it?
I don't at this point. I don't really think it's as big as interesting. Do I want to see this match? Of course. Of course I would. But to the level, to what people think it is, it's going to be a blockbuster mega. I don't know, man. I don't think so, because I don't think jiu-jitsu is that crowd.
It's a 41-year-old against a 26-year-old who weighs.
If this was MMA,
2 weight classes higher.
There's a place for that. But I think in jiu-jitsu, it's not that crowd, and that's not my opinion. Maybe people do, and I'm disconnected from that element.
This is a little more far-fetched than what we have currently, but imagine if Roger Gracie in his prime called out Marcelo Garcia. It's similar, right? It's calling out a smaller place. It's a little bit strange. The greatest of all time, absolute champion. But the thing is, Andre's also absolute champion. So it's like Andre puts himself. That's kind of where Andre kind of has the flaws. He puts himself in that sphere. So anyway, that's really it. I think we covered most of the learning, the lessons that we could learn and whatnot. I don't have much else to say, Jim.
Yeah, and other than that, if you go to Atos right now, I think they're still in that free window, or 50%
It's a great
off.
site. It's a great site.
It really is, all jokes aside. But it seemed like there was something I wanted to add, but I will not. Instead, I'll just say, man, Coach, thanks again for a really good discussion on this. There is a lot to learn from here, but most importantly, what do you guys think?
I think people should find ways to bolster these successful people in jiu-jitsu and not cut them down. Yeah. I don't think there's any. I don't think look, I'm more flawed than either of these guys for sure. So if I say that, I think everybody could admit that, right? Yeah. What are we like? Walking gods?
Right.
I'm more flawed than both of you. I'm not judging these guys. I'm looking for ways to almost like make excuses for them. I'm finding ways to bolster them.
Yeah, I think there is again. I think there is a path to redemption for all parties involved in here, whether people think they need it or not. I feel there is a road to redemption, and there is discussions like this, like real discussions, not, I would have, the tough guy act. Real discussions will only further
I would
the
have.
community.
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
That's like
it's a kind of ego-fulfilling type of talk that really does nothing. So with that, I thank you for the discussion, man.
Thanks,
and guys, tell us what you think. Hit up Coach BZ at Coach BZ on his Instagram. Tell him what you think.
Just comment below.
Comment below, all that stuff. And one last thing. What do you think about his hand speed? Gordon's hand speed was impressive. Check it out. And when he makes
pretty
that
devastating slap.
once he goes to make that transition to MMA, he's going to be a problem. That hand speed, there was no telegraph. Anyways, that was just technical talk.
I think Andre ate it well too. I might have got knocked out. So he ate him well. He's got a chin.
But the hand speed and the lack of a load up. MMA fighters.
That's how you bolster people up. Gordon's got hand speed. Andre's got a chin.
Hey, man, and all you guys in his weight division in MMA, take note, that Hansby was nothing nice. He ain't just a grappling dude. I'm guessing these days. He's working on other things. So, once again, thanks everyone. JujitsuMag.com, all that stuff. Comment below, and we'll engage. We'll engage in the discussion. So, let us know what you think. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Jim.